So anthrax research was kind of a niche area that wasn't being pursued by too many people around the world. We got involved because of my relationship with Los Alamos National Laboratory, which is, again, part of the Southwest United States Science Consortium. And so we started using our evolutionary biology tools and genomics tools to look at anthrax. And what we were able to do was something nobody else had ever done with anthrax, which was tell one type of anthrax from another type. We could precisely identify the type of anthrax that was found anywhere in the world. We'd built databases, we'd done genomic analysis. And so in October of 2001, when the first victim came down with anthrax, uh, the FBI and the CDC put a sample of that on a corporate jet and flew it to Flagstaff, Arizona. Who would have thought, that those folks on the East Coast with their big research institutions were coming to Flagstaff because we're the ones who know how to do this. Before the first victim died, we identified the strain. We had strong evidence at that point that this was a bioterrorism attack and that it involved a laboratory strain. And it wasn't just a natural, unfortunate infection with anthrax. So it was really our capabilities in that specific area that led them to us. And that just then set off a snowball effect for the next 8 years. We became the anthrax investigative lab for the FBI. We stored over 1,000 pieces of evidence from the cases that occurred across the eastern United States, and we were preparing to go to trial and testify about what we had found in pursuit of whoever had done that particular crime. Yeah, so 20 years after the anthrax letter attacks occurred, it was really gratifying to see that in hindsight, people really appreciated what we did during that investigation. In the heat of the battle, there was so much rhetoric about who was doing what, and there were a lot of people taking credit for contributing to the investigation. Whereas in reality, it was us. We were the ones who were getting in there and figuring out exactly what was happening, and we were trying to keep a low profile. The FBI had warned us that if we got out too much in front of this, that the perpetrator might come after us to stop us from what we were doing. And so that was sobering. And so we actually did keep a relatively low profile at the time. Now, 20 years later, this Netflix documentary has come out, and we get a lot of credit in it, a lot of airtime for the role that we played in figuring out who had actually sent these letters out. And that occurred right here in Arizona. It was with Arizona kids working in the laboratory and us stepping forward and handling, again, all the evidence. The FBI didn't have the capability at that time to handle evidence that involved a highly dangerous pathogen like anthrax. And so they had great technical detail in the area of DNA, but they couldn't handle the anthrax. And it was our technology and our investment in biosafety infrastructure that allowed us to play such an important role. The docudrama itself is highly entertaining, and so I actually would recommend people go watch it, not just because it took place in Arizona and because I get a lot of airtime on it, but it's very entertaining. They pulled in a actor, Clark Gregg from Marvel Comics, who plays the role of Dr. Bruce Ivans, who I won't spoil the ending, has a very important part of the entire thing. And so this Marvel Comics actor comes in and plays the role of people who weren't available to play the role. And it makes it into a very interesting and entertaining type of show. For me, I really deserve almost no credit for the show itself. All I do is sit in front of a camera and talk, and I do that a lot. So it's not like there was anything special going on for this particular Netflix. But apparently, what I said in our story about what we did was compelling enough that Dan Kraus, the director of the Netflix show, gave us a really prominent place in the entire process. And that doesn't always happen. I spend a lot of time in front of cameras and then only end up with 3-second sound bites on the 5:30 News or something. This was very nice. And again, it was very gratifying that 20 years later, people still see what we did and recognize what an important role we had.